Hello and welcome to this week's Q&A, where I respond to a question I've received from someone moving through my 28-day mind-body retreat. This week's question will attract a lot of interest, I think, because it's about panic attacks. It's a simple one. Can you help me with a step-by-step plan for panic attacks and general overwhelm? I definitely can, but let's just clarify what a panic attack is first. If you've been listening to past mini session, you remember the one about pain and suffering. So a panic attack is a distortion of threat, like an amplified experience of anxiety, feeling threatened by something that's happening, and our observing self, the suffering part, judging our capacity to cope with that intense experience of anxiety. So we're underestimating our capacity to cope, and then we panic that we're not coping. So we have anxiety, then we panic that we're not able to handle, manage the emotional disturbance, the turmoil that we are experiencing. That's what a panic attack is. I had them so severely in my mid-20s. No one really knew no one talked about them back then. Just a little side note. I eventually went to see a psychologist, and she told me, I think you're having panic attacks. And thank God she did, because I thought I was going mad and going to die. She referred me to this book, Dr. Claire Weekes, Complete Self-Help for Your Nerves. Saved my life. Well, saved my panic attacks. It's just been reprinted and has had a resurgence in interest because it's fantastic. So that you can get that if you're experiencing panic attacks and you want some, more grounding help in understanding what the experience is. So the first thing to say is to notice and accept. So become aware and accept the sensations that are happening in your body. Step one, awareness of and acceptance of the sensations that you're having in your body. Remember, anxiety is a felt experience. We think that it's because of our thoughts. We think we're anxious, but actually it's our cognition judging what's happening or relating to what's happening in our body. So notice the part of you observing your anxiety, and then the next step is to have compassion and support and soothe yourself through this experience. That the anxiety about the anxiety is telling you you're not coping with this. This is not good. We're wanting to do the absolute opposite of that. Support and soothe yourself to a calm state. Breathe, walk, move around. I think moving around, even around your room, wherever you are, just get up and move around. Because when you're frozen, I know that feeling, sometimes you can be frozen in panic. You just go against that urge to stay frozen and just stand up and walk around and talk to yourself. It's all right, darling. You need to soothe yourself in this sort of voice, a very, very gentle and tender, supportive voice towards yourself. You're okay, you're just feeling anxious. That's, your body's got adrenaline surging through it. That's what that feeling is. Naming it, taming it. Name it to tame it. And trust that you will survive this experience. You're not going to die. You're not going to collapse. You just need to keep moving around and breathing to get your nervous system to return to a calmer state. You don't even have to be completely calm and, chill. You just need to be one notch down from where you are, which is panic. Even if you come back to a state of mild anxiety, that you can do that. So the step-by-step plan is to be aware, accept, and practice compassion and move around as this experience of anxiousness subsides, and it will subside. It's going to pass. There's also a fantastic practice, an anchoring practice, which is to count backwards from 5, and it has 5 steps in it. So basically, as you get up and you move around, you take your mind off the sensation of anxiety. Number 5, acknowledge 5 things you can see. Number 4, acknowledge 4 things you can touch. Number 3, acknowledge 3 things you can hear. Number 2, acknowledge 2 things you can smell. And number 1, acknowledge 1 thing that you can taste, or you can use number 1 as, and number 1, take one long, deep, slow, deep inhalation and exhale. An audible exhale is what will bring your mind state to calm. You can't instantly switch from panic to calm. It will take a few minutes, but you can do it. Aware, accept, compassion, and in compassion is the practice of supporting and soothing yourself. Remember, that also includes asking for help. Call someone, say, I'm feeling highly anxious. Can you just chat with me for a few minutes? You don't even need to talk about the anxiety. In fact, I recommend you don't. You can talk about the problem and some solutions that might be there, but what we're wanting you to do is focus on outside of you and anchoring yourself with the breath. Get your nervous system to a calm state. I hope that's helpful. If you remember Dr. Claire Weeks' book, there's heaps of other information around about panic attacks, but the most important thing is you will get through it. You just need to practice calming breaths and moving. See you next time.